Or did
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is everyone about ready?
Oh, is it
All
time?
right. Welcome to Aspects of Writing. I'm your host, James Kelly, and my co-host is Janet Corsi. The topic of today's show is writing for comedy. And our guests for today's show are Brenna Daly, Ryan Popowcer, Karon Kate Blackwell, and the hilarious comedian, Marty Allen. But before we get to our guests, my pal and I would like to read a few fun quips and quotes. And Janet, I'm going to let you start.
I love this first one. People say that money is not the key to happiness, but I always figured if I had enough money, I could buy a key. By Joan Rivers.
Yeah. And Karon?
Well, this was by somebody I know really
You know this
well.
person?
Yes.
Oh.
He said, a study of economics usually reveals that the best time to buy anything is last year. And guess who said that? Smarty Britches himself sitting next to me.
Marty Allen?
Marty
no
Allen.
way.
Nah.
And you wouldn't know when it's a good time to buy anything. You just buy. You don't care.
I just buy.
Yeah. And I'll let you get the next one too, Karon.
Oh, okay. Marty, you don't want to read the next one?
I don't read anything. Just ask me the question.
All right. Here's what you said. You said, I love people and entertaining. The fact that I can still do it, and it's with my wife, is phenomenal. I want to reach 95 years. Well, honey,
I think you made it.
Whoa.
you're 95 and a half
95 and a half.
All right. So you achieved it.
and 4 days.
4 days.
You
All
see,
right.
see, when you're a little kid, you count the days.
I what?
When you're here, let somebody else talk.
Ryan?
All right, my quote is, I'm glad I'm a comedian, otherwise my life would just be a series of undocumented low points. That's by Kyle Kinane.
All right. And Brenna?
This one is also from Joan Rivers, and she says, I told my mother-in-law that my house was her house, and she said, get the hell off my property.
All right. Comedian and native New Yorker Elaine Boozler is quoted as having said, I have 6 locks on my door, all in a row. When I go out, I lock every other one. I figure no matter how long somebody stands there picking the locks, they're always locking 3.
Clever.
Think about it.
Well, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, if you are just tuning in, you're listening to Aspects of Writing with me, your host, James Kelly, and my co-host is Janet Corsi. Our guests are Brenna Daly, Ryan Popowcer, Karon Kate Blackwell, and the legendary Marty Allen. The topic of today's show is writing for comedy, and our first guest is the beautiful and talented Karon Kate Blackwell. From the whimsical Has a Cat to the more serious I Pray Before, Karon has been a songstress for several decades. But before she headlined showrooms everywhere from New York to Chicago and Los Angeles, or her adopted home in Las Vegas, where she opened for the likes of Wayne Newton, Karon grew up on a farm near Ellisville, Mississippi. At 18, she decided it was time to leave for Chicago to pursue a singing career. So what made you decide to go to Chicago?
I had an aunt living in Chicago.
Oh, okay, all right.
And that's the only reason Mom and Daddy let me go.
Oh, okay. Well, Karon has always had a love for pop, rock, and traditional country music. Her debut album was Mississippi Stardust. Was that right?
Yes.
Okay. And as a musician, she has pounded out rock and roll, like Jerry Lee Lewis style, and the old ragtime favorites. Do you like ragtime?
Yeah,
All
like,
right.
Little Irvin Berlin in there.
Okay.
Oh,
All
excuse
right.
me.
That's
Oh,
great.
that's
Oh, that's
great.
great. So Karon sings many old favorites, but she also includes a few of her own compositions, such as Wedding Vows, a song she wrote for Marty on their wedding day. One of Karon's singles entitled I Can't Laugh was a Cashbox Pick of the Week selection in 1994. Miss Blackwell met Marty Allen in the mid-'80s, and the two began performing together, combining Karon's music and Marty's comedy. So, Jan?
Well, Karon, we love you to death, and I got some of your CDs, and they are so passionate and warm, and I love it. What else have you got going on?
Well, at the moment, I'm doing something that is really like coming right from my gut, if you will excuse the expression. I wrote a song called Seasons,
Okay.
and it's about my life, basically. And Marty kept bugging me to do it again. So what I'm doing is just last week, I filmed a little girl as the little Karon.
Okay.
My niece was in town. I filmed her as a young adult Karon. And then I went in and I filmed this old lady the girl today. And the song is Seasons, and it's going to be pretty nice.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, about starting out, and we look for things our whole life when all along it was always within us.
Yeah, it's always there. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Well, our next guest is Brenna Daly and Ryan Popowcer. Brenna is an aspiring comedic actress, and Ryan a comedian and radio host in his college town of Chicago, where he guest on. You were both guests on my show, The Next Big Star, about 5 years ago, and at that time you were doing a short called Unintended. I remember, and you were on there with Kathleen Shin. And it was a story about a bad decision and the paths that you use they go awry. And the movie was produced by Brenna Daly, which is your mother, and you were both leads in that one, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Crazy that it was 5 years. It doesn't seem like
I
it's been
can't
that
believe
long.
it. Time goes by so fast. Actually, Marty, I met you at the studio about that time 5 years ago. You were I'm going out of my show, and someone else, you're going into the studio for someone else's show. That was our brief encounter.
I thought I knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me tell
You
y'all.
haven't changed.
Not a bit. Not a bit.
Let me,
Why are we reading this?
Because we script this show.
that way we don't leave anything out.
Yeah, we want to
Nothing-
make sure we have everything
I like
about
it.
you.
We leave nothing to chance. Brenna Daly grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and started acting about the age of 8. Her training consisted of improvisation, acting, singing, and dancing classes after school until she was 14. At that time, she attended the Las Vegas Academy of Performing Arts as a theater major. Her training then proceeded to revolve mostly around acting and musical theater classes. She completed all 4 years of the Performing Arts High School and then moved west to L.A. to experience a life-changing 3 years at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Brenna continues to grow as an artist and particularly as a comedic actress. And I'm just so thrilled to have you sitting right here next to me, child.
Thanks.
This is wonderful.
Well, Ryan Popowcer was born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada. Ryan was bitten by the acting bug by the age of 15. He gave up his first love of baseball at the age of 16, and after 12 years of playing competitively in order to pursue an acting and stand-up comedy full-time, he gave it all up. He moved to Los Angeles in August of 2013 and has since relocated to Chicago to earn a college degree. Ryan has written several screenplays in his pastime while performing stand-up comedy in L.A., Las Vegas, and Chicago. His inspiration to become an actor was Michael J. Fox. He is also a radio host and DJ on WCGR Radio Network in Chicago.
Wow. First, Brenna, why acting and particularly why comedy?
All right, so I've been thinking about this answer, so it might be a little bit long.
Oh, okay.
So, acting to me is celebrating the human experience. And different genres are simply just taking a particular situation and looking at it from different perspectives. And so that's why I'm in love with comedy, because it's definitely a perspective that I get behind. My plans for the future are just to continue to create and tell stories in my everyday life. I will continue
It's okay,
to find
Brenna.
the fun.
We have our own thing going on here.
Oh. I was like, oh, did I say something?
No, they're really looking at you.
Yeah, so I'll just continue to, find the truth and the funny in things in my everyday life and just not take everything so seriously.
Wonderful.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Ryan, why comedy for you? What caused that?
Well, comedy it kind of happened on accident for me. I kind of stumbled upon an open mic on my campus when I went to school in California, and I just decided to do it. I've never done stand-up before, but it was on campus, so it was convenient, so I just signed up, and I did it. And when I was there, somebody was telling me about a college comedy contest that was happening in Burbank. They told me I should join, and I just joined that too. And I actually made it to the finals. I didn't win, but that turned into kind of a regular gig for me at this place called Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank. So before I knew it, I had like a full-time gig. It was kind of bizarre, but I really just fell in love with it. Being on stage with the mic and having the spotlight on you and just everyone engaged in what you're saying and generating laughs. I mean, you really can't get that anywhere else than stand-up. So I'm glad I found it,
Yeah. Well, Marty, I'm just curious. When you started out, you just did stand-up comedy on your own?
Actually, I was a jitterbug champion.
Yeah, I know that.
All
Yeah.
kind of dance contests.
Yeah.
While I was in high school,
Uh-huh.
and I somehow I had the feeling that I wanted to be in show business and be a comedian. So when I got out of school, I went to an agent, and he said, well, there isn't too many jobs. If you can get me a job for yourself, I'll book you. So
Wow.
I thought that was how it was done.
That easy, huh?
So I went into this neighborhood, into different bars and saloons and ever, and I went up to a guy. I asked him, have you ever had comedy? He said, no, I just have a piano player. I said, well, how about like a Saturday, a Friday, Saturday, and I do comedy? And he says, okay. And I said, how much? I think it was, what, $12.
Wow.
You told me it was $12.50.
$12.50. 50 cents
So
was a lot back then.
So I went back to the agent, and I told him I got a job,
Uh-huh.
and I get $12.50. The cigar fell out of his mouth. I couldn't believe it. And I worked it. And the punchline to the whole thing is he took his commission.
How much was his commission? 5%?
10%.
Or 10%? So he got $1.50.
All right.
Wow.
All right.
Or
And then
$1.25
then
actually.
I
$1.25.
I played all kind of banquets, weddings, bar mitzvahs, club dates, everything. And I built myself up, and my name got around.
Yeah.
And finally, I landed with an agency. In those days, the singers were the big deal.
Yeah.
Sinatra, Frankie Lane,
Yeah.
Patti Page, Joe Stafford, and they used comedians for 25 minutes to open the show.
Uh-huh.
So they had me, and they put me with different ones. And then when I got a job, he said, I'm booking you with a big girl singer. So I said, really? Who is it? And he said, Sarah Vaughan.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, she
Brenna
was a
goes,
legend,
Sarah
yeah.
who?
I was like,
Did you say
what?
Sarah who?
Sarah
In my
Vaughan,
head.
I knew who she was because I had all her singing. And she took a liking to me and called her friend and arranged for me to be on his show.
Yeah.
And it was Nat King Cole.
That had to be an
Oh.
honor. Yeah.
And that's how I got with Nat King Cole.
And then Nat King Cole, he introduced you in 1957 to Steve
Well,
Rossi.
Steve Rossi was a production singer
Yeah.
at the Sands Hotel
Oh my
here
goodness.
in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And he said to Nat, I'm tired of being a production singer, working with all these girls. So,
Oh, poor thing.
so I knew how stupid he was as a
You figured he's the perfect one to
yeah.
pair up with.
Anyhow, Nat says, well, I have a comedian, and I got a great idea. Comedy teams would be great. You and this fellow, Marty Allen. Have you seen him? He said, yeah, I saw him here working with you. He's funny, naturally.
Mhm.
He said, would he be interested? He said, well, he's in Chicago at the Shapery with
Edie Gourmet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
Edie Gourmet. And he called me up and he started to talk to me about being a comedy team. And I'm making a couple bucks, and I says, I don't want to be a part of a team. I'm finally making it. And he kept talking, and he says, well, couldn't we talk about this? I said, well, fly to Chicago.
Did he?
I figured that would. Next thing I know, he comes to Chicago. Handsome guy, sings phenomenal, and we hit it off. And he said, "Would you be interested?" Because Nat thinks, because of Martin and Lewis,
Right.
that there's always room for another one. I says, "Well, I don't know. I'll tell you what. I'll write some material, and we'll do it, and let's see the reaction." So we start playing little clubs, and I could tell from the reaction of the people how they reacted to us. I said, maybe we have something.
Yeah.
And when we were ready, we called Nat, and he booked us together, and we scored unbelievable, and
Yeah.
that was the beginning.
Yeah. Are there too many people doing that today where they pair up? I don't know of too many.
No.
No. Yeah. Pretty much everyone's on their
I
own.
don't even know if there is a team
Yeah.
anymore.
Yes, there is.
Is there?
Yeah.
It's called Allen and Blackwell.
Yeah. But wait a minute.
Boy, he has a
Boy,
short memory, doesn't he?
Well,
She's
no.
sitting right here.
When I heard Karon sing
Yeah.
and play the piano, she's brilliant.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, she knew all of my
Routines.
routines. And so we put it in. Steve and I split, but very friendly.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to be an agent, and I wanted to continue in show business. We did movies. We did we did all the big shows, from Perry Como to
You did 44 Ed Sullivans.
yeah.
Yeah.
We did more Ed Sullivan shows than Ed Sullivan.
Brenda's sitting there going, "Who's Ed Sullivan?"
What?
I love this. I love it. It's so cute.
And today,
Welcome to History 101.
I'm learning. I'm
Today.
taking notes.
today the act is phenomenal.
You know why it was so easy? And honey, we need to let other people talk.
No. This is fine.
No.
But I want to tell you why it was so easy. He and Steve got back together for a short time, and
Yeah.
we were actually appearing at what is now known as the Stratosphere.
Yeah.
And every friggin' night, Steve would say, "What do I say here?" And I'd say, "You ask him this, this, and this." Or Marty would say to me, "What do I answer?" So one time Steve had to go away for something. And I said, "I know the show, Marty. Let's just do it." So we just
So
did
she
it.
filled in for Steve.
And then what's so ironic was Mr. Stupek called me in the office. He said, "I heard the show was sensational. You want to keep it that way?" I said, "No. We started with Steve. We're going to finish here with Steve, you know?"
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah.
Steve
I knew Mr.
wanted-
Stupak as
no,
well.
Steve wanted
Did
to
you?
be an
Yeah.
agent,
Yeah.
and we parted very friendly. We were friendly the whole time,
Yeah.
and he was a great straight man.
Yeah.
But
He was funny, too, though,
yeah, funny.
off camera.
But but the answer is Karon is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know why he likes working with me?
Why?
Because he knows I'm going to keep him straight. You know, Steve didn't always remember everything. He'd have it written in his hands. It'd start
Yeah.
sweating, and then it'd run. And
Yeah. I was going to ask you, did you write everything or did it
Yeah.
just happen on stage?
I don't follow anything. If she says something to me, many times I change it,
Okay.
and she has no idea it's gonna happen
And why do you change it, Marty?
because I forgot the original.
So it was written. You just forgot it.
And that's how the act
I
works.
think some of the best things, though, James, really do happen, but just on stage.
You never know what's going to happen or
No.
why it's going to happen.
ad lib.
And you know, I originally moved here in 1978. So there is no doubt that some of our paths cross with some of the people that we all know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that we're here sitting here talking. We'll talk after the show.
Can we gossip?
No, there's some things we can't talk about.
Oh, not on air. Oh, dear.
But you started out, you were actually in the war. You were in World War II.
I was in the 15th Air Force.
And you won a medal.
Yes.
Yeah. That was pretty heroic. Come on
Well,
now.
I was on guard duty and also on refueling.
Yeah.
I had a perforated eardrum. In fact, they had no idea that I would be accepted, but they accepted me.
Okay.
And I trained in St. Petersburg, and then they transferred me to the 15th Air Force, and we were stationed in Cernola, Italy. We were the ones with the B-24s. We were the ones who bombed Palesti oil fields
Okay.
and blew up their oil.
Reserve, yeah.
And we got a presidential citation. for that.
Well, you actually got a citation because one of the tankers
Well,
caught fire.
what happened-
Or the planes in the bay.
The gasoline truck, when they put the gas in the plane,
Uh-huh.
is 4,000 gallons of gasoline,
Yeah.
and there's a motor in the back of the truck, and you turn the motor on, and the gasoline goes up, and the two guys up on the wing put the gasoline in.
Uh-huh.
Well, they were putting the gasoline in, and the motor caught on fire. Well, the two guys jumped off the plane.
Uh-huh.
They were on their way to the Vatican,
Right.
and everybody ran. And I don't know whatever made me do it, but I pulled the hoses down. They had just let the hose.
They left everything there.
on the wing.
Yeah.
I pulled the hoses down, got in the truck and pulled it away, and came back, and with the leather jacket, more or less, got the fire out on the motor. Then I went in the airplane
Uh-huh.
that was loaded with bombs and made sure there were no sparks.
And that's why you did it, because you knew if those bombs went off, it would be retroactive
Yes.
with all the planes that were
You're
next
right.
to it. Yeah.
And next thing I know, they came with the hoses and
Putting you out.
They did. They start pouring the snow on me.
Oh, wow.
They didn't know who I was. I could have been anybody. And then when they investigated and found what I had done, they had a parade.
Yeah, you got a,
And I got a medal.
You got the Soldier Medal of Valor.
Wow.
I got a soldier's medal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Extraordinary.
That is an
Extraordinary
interesting story. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad you talked about it. So, and Jen, did you have something you wanted to ask Marty?
Well, if I did, I sure don't remember what it is now because he has just had me in stitches. Okay, I do remember.
This is a good one. This is
Yes.
good.
After the war, to generate an income, Marty had a novel idea. He became the first door-to-door dance salesman. I love this idea.
I don't know of anyone who's ever done that.
Well, I had to make extra money when I came out to California,
Okay.
and I.
This is before the comedy career.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
before everything.
Yeah.
And I, being a dancer, and knowing all the different dances, I got the idea of becoming the first door-to-door dance salesman. And I knock at the door, and the woman came out, yes, and I tell her I'm a dance instructor.
Clever.
I'm not selling anything, but dancing.
Uh-huh.
And she looked at me, and maybe 1 out of 3 would say yes. Next thing I know, I had quite a few number of women,
And you were pretty
and I was
cute, too.
teaching tango and rumba. And
Right there at their home.
Huh?
Right there at the house. At their
Right
home.
at the house.
Yeah, yeah. So
And
you were a door-to-door dance salesman.
I'm a door-to-door dancer.
And it says $10 an hour is what you charged.
A half hour.
Yeah,
Or half hour,
I
half hour.
didn't know.
Half hour. That's a lot back then.
Yeah, well, back
Oh, my
then,
goodness.
You sure it wasn't a
I
dollar?
had no idea. I figured $5, $10.
Yeah.
I knew I would never go over because I wouldn't get any customers.
Yeah.
So when I told them $5 or $10, they said okay. and a half hour, I would
Yeah.
teach them dance.
But Jan wants to say something. Go ahead.
I think this is just so great. I would give anything if somebody knocked on my door. I'd give them $10 to dance with
Ryan,
me.
they're giving you ideas.
Yeah, there you go.
Somebody said, when did you quit doing it? I said, I was teaching a woman how to do the samba, and her husband came home.
And that ended that career.
And he couldn't hear the music. He was deaf. It just, but Jan, I love what you were going to say. That why did you think he quit?
I have no idea why he quit.
Well, you said because it was costing him a fortune.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
that's right. In
Yes.
shoes.
Okay.
It cost you so much money in shoes and foot powder. Well, one of the things that we haven't talked about is you are actually a serious actor as well. You
Yeah.
on the Big Valley.
I did Big Valley with Barbara Stanwyck.
Oh, that had to be great.
I
And
was
Linda Evans.
I got an award for it, and Barbara said, called me in her dressing room and said, her and Linda Evans got to tell me how wonderful I was as the Jonah. I played the part of the Jonah. Do you know what the Jonah is?
No.
He's the guy on the
Tell
ranch.
Brenna.
When the rains come and the cattle run away
Oh, okay.
and everything, they said it's his fault because he's a bad luck guy.
Yeah.
He's a Jonah.
Okay.
You were Waldo Diefendorfer.
I was Waldo Diefendorf.
I
Yeah.
can't even say that.
And the crew on the ranch wanted me to to leave, and Barbara and Linda protected it. Said there's no such thing, and he is not a Jonah, and that's how it was.
Wow.
And I rode a donkey.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
I actually remember you from the Big Valley. I really do. I watched every episode of the Big Valley growing up. Yeah.
Did you see it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, there's one movie, I don't know why you weren't in it, but in my mind you were in it. And it was a mad world.
Yeah.
For some reason your character would have fit in there so well. And there were so many comedians in that movie.
Yeah.
I know people.
Everybody tells me that.
Yeah. But I always figure in my mind I still see you in that movie and you were never in that movie.
No. No, we made a movie.
Brenda's going, she's got another like, what? What movie?
No, Steve and I did Last of the Secret Agents,
Yeah.
and that's, and then I did Big Valley,
Hmm.
and I did a number of,
You were on Broadway and I Had a Ball.
yeah.
Yeah. So people don't know that about you, that you were on Broadway. You know, I mean, you've done it all. You really have. So,
I don't want, I'm not one of those guys, to be honest with you, that walks around and said, I did this, I did that. I just go out and do it.
but
And
you had
I
fun with
ad-lib
it. You had fun with it, though.
I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And right now, working with Karon, this is the greatest of all.
It has to be. I mean, you're working with your wife. She's your
Yeah.
partner.
Not only is she great, but then she goes home and makes dinner.
Yeah, and I was about to say, you better talk.
If you're not careful, you won't get dinner tonight. Well, your tour is called, well, you were in, I want to bring this up because we didn't talk about this. I didn't put it in our script. Everyone knows we script this show. You wrote a book called Hello There,
Yeah.
which is part of your act, which you actually created when you did the military tours. You did hospital tours for the military. And tell people how Hello There, first of all, came about. It was a slang that they were using at one of the places where you were performing, and they couldn't say there because I think it was a Hispanic.
That happened in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
Steve asked me a question, and I blanked out, and I looked at him, and I went, hello there.
Uh,
And he says, what?
oh,
I
okay.
said, hello there. And I heard the audience laughing and people yelling out, hello there. And next thing I know, I said, you wait all your life to find,
Right.
like Joe Penner, want to buy a duck or whatever.
Right. And that became
And
your,
that
your
became my opener.
Yeah.
Hello there.
And
I
your
spelled it D-E-R-E.
E-R-E. And that became your whole routine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you wrote a book called Hello Dare, and it's basically a picture book. There's 160 photographs in there.
Yeah.
And Karon, I haven't seen the book, but are you in that book as well? I hope you are.
Couple of pages.
That's it, Marty. Come on.
Oh,
Well, I'm in it a lot.
Yeah.
But I
good.
tried to make sure that he covered everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was kind of, it was hard to get it out of him. You see how he's talking right now?
Yeah.
So I go get a recorder, and I'm being you, and I'm asking him questions. He couldn't remember one friggin' answer.
He's remembering now.
Well, that's it. He's in front of, people, and there's an audience out there, and there's a camera.
Yeah.
He can remember everything.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? He's on. He's on now.
Well, maybe you should put cameras around the house.
Oh,
There
well,
you go.
Good idea.
There you go. There's the answer. Well, let me add with this. In 1968, he made Hello Dear, tour of military hospitals in the United States, a tour named after a catchphrase he popularized. What was that like, Marty?
what?
The tour
The
for
tour
the
for the
military.
hospitals.
I got involved when the Vietnam War was over and the guys came, and I was asked to make an appearance. And I went, I didn't go to do a show. I went bed to bed. And they knew me because everybody had seen me on television.
Right.
I'd walk over to the bed and go, hello there.
Ah.
And
Yeah.
next thing I know, they'd start laughing. I'd tell them a couple jokes and go on to another.
So you actually went bed to bed with this routine.
Yes.
This wasn't like on stage.
No, and I
Aw,
got
that's
a
so nice.
letter.
Well, let's not talk about that, but tell them about the guy that had just gotten the artificial leg.
Oh yeah,
I love this
I
story.
went bed to bed, and then they took me around, and they took me in the amputee session,
Uh-huh.
and there was a guy being fitted for a leg,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Aesthetic.
says, "How's it going, soldier?" He says, "Well, it doesn't look real." I says, What did you say?" He says, "It doesn't look real." I said, "Just a moment." And I said, "Can you get me a pair of scissors?" And they said, "Yeah." They got me scissors. I had the wild hair. And
Yeah.
I came with Scotch tape and cut my hair and put it on his leg. And he said, "Now that's more."
Wow.
Isn't that a sweet story?
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
I'm just curious, Brenna, do you have anything to ask Mr.
I mean, just
Marty Allen?
so much knowledge and life, and I don't have any questions.
Yeah.
Just-
But can I say something? You said finding the fun in every day.
yes.
And that's what Marty does. We get 2 or 3 newspapers delivered because he doesn't like going on the internet.
Yeah.
But he just looks for what's going on in the news
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then to turn it into something funny.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
that's something that I'm with the.
I have never done anything risque. I said, you don't need it. All you have to do is take the front page and make it the funny page.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
true.
that's the way I circle different things.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you when it comes to writing comedy. Though I was going to ask you, where do you get your inspiration for what you write? So you just pick up the newspaper and it's right there.
Well, I can see something in the front page or in the back page, and I circle it or cut it out and work on it in such a way that I can use it in the act. That's how I operate. And I never did any dirty or risque,
On stage.
but on stage,
Yeah, I've heard him off stage when he was at the other studio.
yeah.
Yep, it's real embarrassing. I go, Marty, honey, Don't. There's ladies here. Oh, excuse me. And then he gets you guys off in the corner.
I'm going to ask Ryan. Ryan, do you have anything you'd like to ask Karon or Marty?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, just absorbing all the information. It sounds like it's quite a life. I guess. What's the highlight for Marty? He's done so much. I mean, is there one moment that stands out above the others?
What's the one moment that stands out above everything else that you've done?
No.
Yes, there is. Come.
What?
If you don't remember it, you sure told me enough times.
Okay. What was it?
1964. Ed Sullivan.
Oh.
Now that stands out.
What went on there?
Oh. Well, he told Steve and I we're going to be on a show with an act from England, and I says, an act from England? An act from England? What act from England? And I thought it was that real funny guy,
Benny Hill.
Oh, Benny Hill. Yeah.
Benny Hill, who I thought was phenomenal.
He was so funny. Yeah.
He was one of the great
Yeah.
comics.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He said, the Beatles are coming. You're going to be on with the Beatles. Can you
That
I
would
know
be
the Beatles.
amazing. She knows the Beatles. When you said Benny Hill, she was like, huh? Who's Benny Hill? But when you said the Beatles, she knew who that was.
And one of the funniest things was they were rehearsing, getting ready, and I walked in. They didn't know who I was. They see this guy with the wild hair.
Uh-huh.
And I walk over to John Lennon, and I said, John? He said, yes. I said, a lot of people mistake me for you. He almost collapsed. He collapsed.
That would be a highlight. That
I
would
think
be.
that's a real highlight.
But they were terrific, and they were very nice.
Yeah.
I think another thing,
Uh-huh.
because was performing for Princess Margaret,
Oh, wow.
Queen Elizabeth's
Oh,
sister.
and
Yeah.
I was. We were in England, appearing in the club. He had seen us at the Concord Hotel in the Catskills,
Uh-huh.
and he told the owner of a club in England that was staying there that he should book Steve and I, and he took a chance, and we did terrific. And we were there a couple of weeks, and he said, I'm holding you over for a star, and you'll open for her. And I says, who is it? And it was Shirley Bassey.
Oh, my goodness.
Well,
Another Brenna look like who?
and I
Shirley Bassey's one of the greatest.
Great singer. Oh, Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you don't remember that movie either. Okay.
I'm sorry.
007.
That was beautiful.
Do you get the feeling we're all old or something?
You know what? I think it is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Seeing this young face
Yeah.
who loves comedy, who loves acting,
Yeah.
and to see you beginning all of this, and then you're sitting next to a 95-and-a-half-year-old. And I don't think there's too many things you didn't get to do, did you?
No, I was going to tell him one night her biggest fan was Princess Margaret,
Oh, okay.
and she came in with a group. And Steve and I did a routine about being up in the
Astronaut.
astronaut, and I wore a helmet,
Uh-huh.
and Steve said, Marty, what do you see up there? I said, a sign. What does the sign say? Go home, Yank. Well, Margaret fell on the floor. When I said, go home, Yank,
Yeah.
she collapsed. And after the show, we went over, we bowed, and she told us how much she enjoyed us.
Oh, that's great.
And I sent her our CD, and
It was
and
an
we got
album
a
then.
Thank you. We got a thank you from the palace.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I'll bet.
great. Wow, that's an
But
honor.
to work with Shirley Bassey.
Oh, my gosh, you've
and
worked with the
what was
best.
the other big song before?
The moment you walked in the joint. Never mind.
Yeah, who was that?
Well, she had a big hit on
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
Spender.
Oh, yeah, Big Spender, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Didn't I tell you that Karon is just aw?
I know. You know, I when I was growing up, we had cassette tapes. So it's a little bit different era than the albums.
Before 8-tracks.
Well, yeah, we had
After
8-tracks.
8-tracks, I mean.
Yeah,
After
8-tracks were
8-tracks.
on the way out when I was growing up. That was passe.
Well, they were
you
kind of
living?
pitiful.
I lived in the Midwest. I grew up in Missouri and Oklahoma, mainly in Oklahoma,
Where?
around Bartlesville.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had a house outside of a little place called Tahlequah.
Oh my gosh, I have a nephew who lives there now.
Really?
Yeah, a beautiful place.
Should
Tahlequah
I
is
leave while you two talk about your house?
Well, it was a haven. I mean, everybody came there, you know, to relax because, heck, it was on a dirt road. And
You know what people don't know about that little town? I mean, we're really getting off subject here now. That is where the Trail of Tears ended. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what that is, we might want to look it up. But the Trail of Tears was about the Indians that they put together and herded them off to Oklahoma. Oklahoma was actually settled. This is a history lesson. Oklahoma was actually settled as a gigantic Indian reservation. There were 7 Indian nations. And they took all the Indians from the East Coast and the South, and they herded them like cattle to Oklahoma to settle there.
well, at the time I lived there, 80% of Tahlequah was Cherokee Indian.
Yeah, that's B.
Wow.
Now, I'm Choctaw.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
No, my great-grandmother was full-blooded Choctaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I remember when Custer was attacked by the Indians. He says, how can we get out of this? He said, let's go to Oklahoma.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Well, he's a little older then.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Well, anyway, Brian, what is there anything that what advice would you like Marty to give you?
What advice do I like
yeah,
Marty to
anything
give
you need
me?
to, yeah. What do you think he can give you some good advice on?
I guess just how to take it to the next step. You know, I do a lot of, open mics and on-campus stuff and small gigs like that, but I guess any advice to get to that next step in the stand-up world?
The answer is all you have to do is what you think is funny and just work it into your act. You don't have to take it from anybody else. Just look in the papers or pick out certain things and put humor to it and walk out and do it.
And you're saying keep it clean.
And
There's no
keep
need
it
to get
clean.
yeah.
When you're funny, you're just funny.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
you're funny, you're funny.
I say
Right.
That's the answer.
Okay.
perform every chance you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if there's one or
Right.
50
Yeah,
people.
if there's 5 people or 500, go out and do the same show for each one, and
Definitely.
just do your whole act, and that's how you are able to maintain your comedy.
And then I say
That's it.
that when you're ready, that you should go online and send a short video to America's Got Talent.
There you go, Ryan.
Yes.
I would really
That's
make that
an
a
option.
priority.
Well, they just this season
Yeah.
they had that one comedian on who went pretty far.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought
Yeah, he went to the
had
final.
a good chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Work toward that kind of a show. You could get lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
There's-
There's a lot of options now.
Nothing like television exposure.
No, and I'm just curious, Marty,
Right.
when you were coming up, was there any comedians that influenced your life? Like, was there anyone that you aspired to be like, or thought you liked their routines?
Well, I've had favorites, I would say.
Okay.
If you were to ask me who was funny, I'd say Don Rickles,
Oh my God, yeah.
Buddy Hackett,
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
guy from England.
Yeah, and he was in It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, which is
Yeah.
why I probably always see you, even though it was Buddy Hackett.
Yeah.
These are the kind of guys that are funny.
Yeah.
Karon and I used to go to see Rickles just to watch him. We knew what he was going to say and do. and we would get hysterical
Yeah.
because we knew.
He liked to poke fun at the audience. Do you remember the Teniers, the Tenier brothers?
Oh yeah, the dancers.
Okay.
I think
Well,
I
they were
worked with
singers. They
them.
had a really nice
thought they
singing
were
routine.
singers.
Yeah, they were singers. They used to have a routine. Don Rickles reminds me of them. They used to have a song in the routine like "You Don't Know Me," and what they would do is they would set someone up who, let's say they went to a casino and they were gambling, and they'd get to know the dealer over a period of time, and they'd say, "You want to come see our show?" So then the person, of course, would say, "Yeah, I'll go see your show." So I went with a friend who was a dealer, and literally that's what happened. Well, they bait you because you go in there, and you think you know them because you've known them a few years, from coming in and playing, and they had that song, "You Think You Know Me," but you don't. And it is so hysterical because they put the spotlight on the person who thinks they know them, but in reality they just know them from the casino.
Yeah.
And it's that person's so embarrassed. I shouldn't be laughing at that, but I was there with a good friend and I thought it was hysterical. That person was mad. I thought it was funny. But Don Rickles reminds me of that. He'd pick you out of the audience and
But
Well,
the
I actually-
Treniers were phenomenal.
yeah, they really were.
Great
yeah.
act.
Yeah, they really were. They were really nice people too.
I work with a young man. To you, honey. He's in his 50s.
She's surrounded by old people right now.
But he said that years ago he deliberately tipped big to get right up close for Don's show and wore the loudest, most obnoxious tie.
Oh, so he wanted to be part of
He
it.
wanted to be picked on. He went, and so I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, well, this person I was with didn't. And that's what made it even funnier because you could see their face when they were embarrassed, and it's like, and you could see them get mad, and I'm just cracking up like you wouldn't believe, and that even made him person even madder. But anyway, Don was good. I really thought there was nothing wrong with that. Everyone has to understand that kind of comedy
Well,
is
there
just
was
in jest.
another guy, Jackie Leonard.
Who?
He was. No, he was.
That's Brenna's line.
He was before Don Rickles.
Yeah.
And he's the first one I met when I came to New York. And he was very kind. And he called me out of the audience to come up. He said, "You're going to like this guy." And that's how I went up and just started doing my own routine. But he did the same thing to Rickles.
I have to ask you, because you've had such a long career, who was, how sometimes we'll meet someone and it's like, I can't believe I'm meeting this person. Who in your life was it ever like that with for you? Like, I can't believe I've actually met this person.
Who?
Where did you get the name Allen?
Oh, Fred Allen.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was that? I don't know who that is.
She wouldn't know who he was. You
Yeah.
knew.
Well, I researched you.
No. At
I
the
know your
time,
real last name.
The Fred Allen show was a big hit.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to him and his wife, Portland. Was that her name? I think
think
it was
so, yeah.
Portland. And they would go talk to different people, and they were all characters. And the way Fred would answer them, I thought was hysterical. And when my name originally is Marty Alpern.
Right.
Morton.
Morton Alpern.
Morton Alpern, yeah.
So I just took Marty and then took Fred Allen and made it Marty Allen.
Why did you decide to change your name? I'm just curious.
Why?
Uh-huh.
Well, Morton Alpern is not phonetically.
Funny.
It is
It
today.
is when you just...
No.
It is today.
As show business,
Yeah,
you try to find something that fits in.
yeah.
So Marty Allen fit.
You know what's funny? And it's not funny to me.
Okay.
He can't, his Social Security and everything reads Marty Allen.
Uh-huh.
But because I'm legally married to that dude,
Uh-huh.
they make me use Alpern.
Oh, really?
Hey, that's really strange.
I can't file taxes or anything. And I go, but she doesn't make any money. It's Karon Kate Blackwell. That,
I thought you were part of the routine. What do you mean you don't make any money?
no,
What's going on here, Marty?
No, I said that to the to the people at Social Security when they made me come in and change everything.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I said, but she doesn't make any money. We don't let her work.
Oh my God.
But that's so. Anytime I walk into any place where I have an appointment, I go, "Who am I today? Am I
Yeah.
Blackwell, Allen, or Alpern?"
Right.
The back of my passport actually reads "person also known as."
Yeah.
Oh, my
And I'm
gosh.
just curious. I want to ask you, when it comes to singing, who was your great influences?
Well, I was quite young, and I went to visit the aunt and uncle in Chicago, and they bought tickets for the Playboy Jazz Festival.
Okay.
And Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong were the headliners.
Okay.
And I thought I had died and gone to heaven when I heard her sing.
Yeah.
Now, I don't sing that way at all, but she's still one of my absolute all-time favorites.
So she was an influence then.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just loved her.
Yeah. You know.
I worked with Ella.
Yeah.
I worked with Joe Stafford, Patty Page,
You said
Oh
all
my
of
goodness.
Shirley Bassey.
That.
Yeah.
You said all of that.
He's showing off now.
That's
though.
where
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where he
And Karen
Yeah.
Blackwell.
And Karen Blackwell. Yeah. Do you know Karen Blackwell?
Why don't you think so?
No, Marty.
Ad lib.
You know, Marty, I got to say, this is what's funny, is Marty and I were on Merv Griffin. You know who Merv Griffin now.
Do you know who?
I
Come
don't.
on,
I
Brenna.
know. Oh gosh.
Oh my.
I
Who is
hardly
she?
know anything in life.
Your mother kept you sheltered.
We just got her out of the box
I
this
know,
week.
Carol Burnett. Was
Oh
that
yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, yeah.
That might be a shock.
Carol.
You did?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
actually.
I was on tour with her.
What about Lucille Ball?
I know her.
Did you work with Lucille
I didn't
Ball?
work with her.
You didn't work with her, did you? Lucille Ball. But-
Lucille Ball, no.
No.
but
I knew Lucille
yeah, I
Ball
know.
Yeah.
very well.
Well, yeah, I met her lots of times with her.
Carol Burnett I worked with.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was appearing. I was so friggin' young, which was.
I thought you
wonderful.
still were.
No, I know it more than Brenna knows. But anyway, I was very young, but I was appearing here in Vegas, and I had a commercial that had just come out. Seven Up decided to change their image, and the song was called "Wet and Wild."
Okay.
That's when they first introduced it, and the bridge went "Wet and Wild." 7 Up, right? So I put it in my show. Well, my acting coach, because I thought, one day I might need it, so I'll study. She had taught Carol Burnett, along with Rock Hudson and Tony Curtis,
Oh, my
and all
goodness.
those people from the studios.
Yeah.
So she was up watching Carol Burnett's show and brought Carol to see my show. So the next night, Carol invites me to her show, right? Who do you think the opening act was? Alan and Rossi.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-huh. But when Carol, I didn't pay him any attention. I think.
Oh, so you didn't know him then?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, we hadn't done the Merv Griffin show together yet, and he was just very nice to me, but I was so shy. Believe it or not, I was shy.
Really?
Anyway, Carol introduced me from the audience and said it's so nice in a town that's kind of jaded to see a young entertainer, and she handed me a bottle of 7-Up from the stage. I've never forgotten that. And but I remember just saying hello to you and Steve.
Wow.
But that was all,
Did you remember that?
No, she wanted to see the singer. She said, I wish that crazy guy would get off.
Oh, sure. Oh,
And
okay.
that's not a lie.
That's not a lie.
That's not a lie. I mean, I went, why does he keep interrupting the singer? Because if you remember, 198 years ago, Brenna, it was so incredible. They had string sections.
Yeah.
And huge, beautiful orchestras. So, of course, I wanted to hear the music because I wanted to really listen to the music. Musicians playing.
I remember that we're reminiscing now. I remember when they used to have the orchestras before movies. Remember they had the old orchestra pits and they would play before a movie would come on and then
Oh, you do not remember.
Oh, yes, I do. In Atlanta they had the old Fox Theater that they renovated and they still do that occasionally.
Really? Really?
Yeah, in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah.
How many musicians?
I don't know.
Or did they just do it because it's...
Reminiscent of the old times, especially if they'll go back and play some of the old movies like Gone with the Wind or whatever. They'll have that orchestra pit, and they come up from the ground in the
Yeah.
orchestra. It's really, that's still in Atlanta. Yeah,
Oh, my Lord, I
Yeah.
want to go.
yeah, I love Atlanta. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know a lot about it, but I like it.
Well, I lived there 12 years,
Oh, okay.
so yeah, I know a lot.
You know,
about
I'm from the South.
it. You are?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you're from Louisiana.
No,
right?
Mississippi.
Or Mississippi. I'm sorry, Mississippi. Yeah, we just said that. What am I talking?
It's okay.
That's where I
Listen, my mind's
No,
going. You're
supposed
sharper
to
than
say,
I am.
That's where I heard.
That's why I heard that. Okay. See, there's a comedy line.
You know, and I feel like we're just leaving Ryan totally out. Ryan,
Ryan's taking
Yeah.
a nap.
Why wake up?
I'm here.
Wake up in Chicago.
yeah. Yeah, you
Well,
know,
wait.
how's the weather
Oh,
in
real
Chicago?
quick.
Huh?
What's that?
I just said, how's the
Oh, no.
weather?
Oh, the weather? It's great. It's actually not too cold, so that's nice. But since we're talking about all these names, I do want to ask. One of my idols is Johnny Carson. So do either of you have any stories or experiences about Johnny?
Well, Marty, there's not enough time for Marty to tell you a story that he told Johnny on the show one time that had Johnny on the floor, but it's in the book. it's in Hello There. I actually did the show a couple of times. He was so quiet and so focused on what he was working on that he did not carry on conversations. Now, after you and I were married, we ran into him in the lobby, and he was very talkative.
Yeah.
But not
My favorite was Mike Douglas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Mike
Mike Douglas,
Douglas.
too. Yeah.
They'd call me up. They had great things for me to do. Marty, come in. You're going to ride an elephant.
Oh, my goodness. You were the prop man. Well, I hate to do this. I mean, I can't believe this hour has gone.
What?
But we're down to the last few minutes of the show.
Oh, my.
I know. You'll have
my
to come back and do it again. So I would like to thank our guests, Brenna Daly, Ryan Popowcer, Karon Kate Blackwell, and the legendary comedian Marty Allen, along with my co-host, Janet Corsi. And you can find a video of this show on youtube.com /aspectsofwriting.com. Just go to aspectsofwriting.com, and you can get all the links to iTunes, Roku TV. We're everywhere.
Absolutely, and Twitter and the whole 9 yards.
Oh, yeah.
So just scroll to the very bottom of the page and
Just go to Aspects of Writing, and actually there's a section in there where you just click on a link and it takes you to iTunes or iHeartRadio. We're on iHeartRadio as well.
Yeah.
So just go there after the show and you'll be able to find everything.
This is big time.
this is
Yeah. I didn't.
I don't know if it's big time, but
You've done-
we have fun. That's the main thing, is we have fun.
you're in the big tent.
And I want to thank you both so much for doing this,
Oh, my gosh.
And you're an inspiration to, I'm sure, Ryan, you would have to agree, he's an inspiration. Brenna?
Yes. Thank you for letting me sit
Oh,
next to you.
absolutely.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, no, that was great.
Ryan, we'll let you talk more next time. All
Okay,
right.
yeah, in 5 years again, right?
No, we won't make you wait 5 years this time. All right.
Okay.
Boy,
Perfect,
in
yeah.
5 years, I'll be 100 years old.
That's right. You'll have to come back.
Wow.
There we go.
I'll try to make it.
All right. You better hang on.
And I'll be there in person this time instead of on the
All
phone.
right.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is it working?
No,
I
I,
say, are you working?
Oh,
You-
am I working? No, I'm just focusing on school. I'm graduating in a business degree, so
And you do a little radio show on the side.
I do, but that's on campus, and it actually counted as a course for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's like a 1 credit course. So I don't really count that as working, but so yeah, I'm just focusing on my degree right now.
you do a lot of stand-up by yourself, huh?
I do. I actually haven't done a show in Chicago yet, but I'm trying. I'm in the process of that right now.
Well, you got to play Las Vegas.
I have one time. But
Really?
Yeah, I definitely want to more. Yeah.
Oh, when are you coming?
When are you
When
going to
am
be
I
back?
coming to Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't be back till December.
Ah.
December. Okay,
Right.
I'll be out of town.
So never mind.
Marty,
That's hilarious.
you're so bad.
That was a bad lead-in.
Okay.
How
God.
old are you?
How old? I'm 22.
22. Gee,
Right.
we're almost unbelievable. I'm 95.
Top that, Ryan.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, when you're
Pretty
95,
incredible.
we'll have you back on the radio.
Marty, Marty, honey, we're not on the radio right now, so save it.
No, it'll be there. Trust me. I'll make sure it gets on.